everybody. It's Sophie and Marco dish out on the movies, but today we're going to do something different. In fact, we'll be doing something different for the next couple of months. And that is, there's a show that premiered on TNT last night called The Alienist. And it is a several-part series, multi-part series that is based on a book of the same name by Caleb Carr, which came out in, 2003, 2004. I read the book years ago, and I was really excited that they were going to do a TV series, like a movie series about it. So, first of all, it's called The Alienist. Well, what does that mean? Is this an alien from another planet? No, this is nothing like it. It is a period-type piece. And at the beginning of the book, in the movie, there's a little note about an alienist, and this is what it says. Prior to the 20th century, persons suffering from mental illness were thought to be, quote, alienated, unquote, not only from the rest of society, but from their own true natures. Those experts who studied mental pathologies were therefore known as alienists. Okay? Now, this is the first episode, and the series of this series, and the episode is called The Boy on the Bridge.
Ooh.
It is 1896 in New York City, and the body of a boy has been found on a bridge. It's pretty bad. He's dressed as a girl and has been mutilated, with his throat cut and eyes gouged out. His name was Giorgio, and worked as a prostitute for a local brothel. A boy reports the murder to the alienist, whose name is Dr. Laszlo Kreitzler, and he's played by Daniel Bruhl. And he is, I'd say, probably the main character of the movie, because it's not just that he's an alienist psychologist type person. He is also, I would say, a pioneer of forensic science. Scientific methods that people use to study crimes and to find the killer, a better way, a more efficient way to find the killer. Okay? So he is very interested in this murder and summons an illustrator, which means it's a person who draws, who he knows, named John Moore from the New York Times, who is presently engaged with a prostitute in a brothel. Spoiler alert, sex scene. He is played by Luke Evans. A madam interrupts his business with the prostitute and tells him that someone is outside waiting for him. Mr. Moore is whisked off to the murder scene and met by a contingent of Irish accented cops who give him a hard time. He tells them a lie that the police commissioner sent for him. When the commissioner shows up, the illustrator has to confess that Dr. Kreitzler asked him to make a drawing of the body. The commissioner, whose name is, believe it or not, Theodore Roosevelt, he's played by Brian Garrity, who's been on the series Chicago PD. The commissioner seems to be new and disrespected by the Irish cops. Why? I don't know, because of his name. He's new.
Because he's Irish.
Or maybe he's not Irish. I don't know. We don't know that yet, but they're not very respectful. But Commissioner Roosevelt seems to know, and even the Irish cops seem to know who Dr. Kreitzler is. So Commissioner Roosevelt allows the illustrator to stay and make his drawing. After he's finished, he goes to the alienist, Dr. Kreitzler's house. But when Dr. Kreitzler sees the drawing, he's disappointed because he thinks it's too nice and like it's an art masterpiece. And it is a beautiful drawing, but Kreitzler suspects that Moore has left out important details. He asks him to describe what the boy's body really looks like, and Moore provides a very detailed accounting of the grisly scene. The reason why the alienist is so interested in the murder is because a few years ago he saw a brother and a sister as clients named Benjamin and Sophie Zweig. Benjamin liked to wear Sophie's clothes. Basically, that's why they were being seen by him, because of this. And they ended up being murdered one day. And Benjamin's body had been mutilated in a similar fashion. What happens next? Marco will let you know. Marco?
Well,
this is the part where they find out maybe somebody's already been apprehended. And
there's a guy that's already a suspect because he killed his boyfriend, and the guy, the alienist, goes there to see if
goes
it's
where?
to the prison where he is.
No, it's
or
not.
I mean, insane
Bellevue.
asylum. So you already know all this stuff, I guess. And he goes there and questions him, and the guy says he did not kill the kid at all. And then he goes to tell the commissioner, and the commissioner doesn't really care. I guess he just wants results, and they ask for the file, I think, and it's all about getting the file. And then there's the first female employee of the police station, and she helps them get the file. And then there's somebody that puts something in their carriage. What was that again?
Go?
Well, you're just giving away the whole episode, so I'm just giving away everything.
He left out a few details. The fact that he tells the commissioner that he had a client and his sister who'd been murdered, and the boy had was similarly killed, and that he liked to dress up in girls' clothes, and he wants to have the bodies exhumed, and then that's before then, and then he wants to see the file on their case first, and after he sees it, there's nothing in the file. It's just they were murdered, the end. And he wants to know, so he has the bodies exhumed, and by two brothers.
Jewish brothers.
They're Jewish, and I say that because they're brand new to the police department, and they are in charge of examining bodies to determine how the people died, and that is relatively new to the department, and they're not respected either by the cops, and they because one, they're Jewish, and they say that, okay, and also because of what they do, they're not respected. So, but Dr. Kreitzler wants them to examine the remains, especially the boy, to see, and it's just, they show the remains, there's just bones, and they want them to examine the bones and to see if they can come up with anything that is similar to this boy who was killed on the bridge. So,
okay, what else do we have to give away?
Well, the girl at the commissioner's office Her name is Sarah Howard, and she knows Mr. Moore. Their families were friends, and she's like a society girl. And she is interested in doing police work, but she is a girl, and she's a society girl. It wouldn't matter if she's a poor girl. They don't want women in the department, and she's discriminated against and sexually harassed. And the commissioner is, quote, nice enough to let her be there by just being a secretary. And they get the file when they ask for the file on that boy and girl's case. The commissioner wouldn't give it to them at first, and they have the girl. They show the girl the picture that he drew of the body of the boy on the bridge, and as an incentive for her to get the file, sneak the file out of the department, which she does. So that's how they got the file. And so
Okay. Is that the whole episode?
Marco
Pretty
Joseph.
close.
Well,
Because it's already 11 minutes.
okay.
We've been giving away the whole episode.
So anyway, amidst this investigation into this killing and the other related killing, it could be they haven't done that yet. The results won't come out till maybe the next episode. They have to work amidst horrible police corruption, where there are cops taking bribes everywhere, and they don't even care about the boy who was killed. They say because he's just a prostitute and he dresses up in girls' clothes, so he's a horrible person. So there's corruption that's just crazy. And then there's the anti-Semitism, there's sexual harassment and discrimination. And then, of course, which is bad for their investigation, there's a rejection of these scientific methods to solve criminal cases,
As usual.
which is terrible. But I mean, it's brand new. These are people who are pioneers of forensic science, things that have never been done. And so every day is a new day and new experimentation. Anyway, there's classism, which means the upper classes seem to have an upper hand on everything. And there's rampant prostitution. And it's very dark. And it seems like it's nighttime all the time. And I like the show. I read the book a long time ago, and the book was really good. And what did you think about it, Marco?
Well, it's already 13 minutes. We've been giving away the whole episode. Well, I thought it was fun. Well,
Are you anxious to see the next one?
didn't blow me away like any other pilot. It was just kind of like it was too much of a. It wasn't. It didn't seem like it was written as a pilot. It seemed like it was written as a part of a whole. So like I don't really think it's fair to judge it without seeing all the other parts, because I feel like since it's based on a book, the people who made this, they were like, okay, let's just do everything the book did, and condense parts and put parts here, and like then you have Psych, which Psych is my favorite TV pilot episode ever, and in that, I mean, it's perfect as a pilot because it has a specific plot structure that really makes it work. It has a whole mystery in one episode, and in this, I mean, there's a lot of setup.
Yeah, it's a setup episode.
There's a lot of winky little nods to like, oh yeah, here's sexism, here's racism, here's all this other crap
Isms.
that I mean, instead of that, we'll just call it crap and stop like dividing everybody by their race and sex, because even by using those terms, you're still dividing people up into different groups when they shouldn't be divided up into different
Yeah,
groups.
but that's what the environment they were trying to solve a murder in was like. It was. I mean, it's trying to show it wasn't going to be easy.
Yeah, but you can
in
just
any way.
Yeah, but you can just say everything is crap, and everybody's being treated like crap by the establishment, because that's what it was like. And especially those police officers that are a lot like today's police officers in the show. They're the worst, and it was very predictable that they're all corrupt. But I just wonder how they're gonna play into the rest of the show. Because then you have like the movie M, and they remind me of like the criminals from that group, the ones that go after the killer and catch him in the end. Like, are the police gonna catch the killer, or do they already know who the killer is and they don't even care?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
They could have connections to mafia or something. I don't know, but I just wonder how that's gonna play out, because just a lot of setup. But I do think that Dakota Fanning is not that good of an actress.
She's the one who plays Sarah Howard.
I mean, she's just kind of stale and dull. She doesn't really have a personality at all. And neither does Luke Evans. He's kind of like...
He plays John Moore.
He's fine. He's slightly better, but I mean, all he does is have sex.
Yeah, that's the. I just wanted to bring that up. I like the show and encourage people to watch it, but just as a warning, because it's offensive to some people. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. It is to some people. There are 2 sex scenes. They're real brief, but and I don't know the purpose of them. I don't remember it from the book, but them from the book, and this was the first episode. So is there going to be more coming up? Anyway, there were 2 in this episode.
What if they had like a rule, like we have to have 2 sex scenes per episode?
And they're trying to get people to watch it. That's what I don't understand the purpose of showing that. Is it to get people to watch the show? Is it to show that John Moore, who's an illustrator for the New York Times, is decrepit, although he's from the upper class, you see? And he knows Dr. Kreitzler and he knows Sarah Howard because they're in the upper class together. And then, or is it to show that prostitution is rampant and they're all over the place and people are using them like crazy and nobody cares and nobody gets in trouble? So I don't know. I don't know the purpose of it. I don't remember that. Except it plays a part that the person who was killed, the little boy, he was a prostitute. He was, he's working for a brothel, and the cops knew, didn't they?
The cops knew. They don't care about anything except for
getting money, bribes. They show them getting bribes too. They show them taking money. They show the money being handed to them. I won't say what happens. We think was said enough, but they just did show them taking a bribe, and they, the way they talk and act and. They're mean to everybody, and they're laughing at people, and anyway, whatever. But that's the only part I really don't like about the show, because I don't understand the purpose of it. And maybe it'll come clearer. Maybe it's
just a lot of setup.
Yeah, I know. The whole show is a setup to everything that's going to be going on.
And I wish we could have seen the dead body a little bit more. Because it was kind of like...
I think because it was a child, they don't like doing that.
Who cares?
I don't care. Any kind of show, any show, anywhere, any movie, I don't think they like to do that.
I can't see a child's dead body, even though this is a murder show. Like,
And it's a period piece, meaning it took place in 1896.
Come on.
So anyway,
it's a murder show. We're not supposed to see the dead bodies.
I don't know, Marco. I'm not interested in
it.
seeing all. He did describe when John Moore goes.
They describe it.
He described it in very big detail to Dr. Kreitzler.
Not much. Not enough for me.
Well, anyway, so it's on every Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern time on TNT, and it'll be on next week.
The main guy is the best one,
Dr.
the
Kreitzler,
best actor,
Daniel
because
Bruhl.
he's the only one that's putting any effort into acting.
He's the man. He's been in a lot of movies, and I think he's German, and he's really good. Really good actor.
Yeah. Dakota Fanning, she's just kind of phoning it in.
Poor Marco.
I mean, it's
Yes, I like Dakota.
well, it reminds me of Back to the Future. Everybody's like, oh my God, Michael J. Fox's performance in that movie is the best thing ever. His best performance. But really, all it is him reacting to things happening. Like reacting to getting sent back in time, reacting to his mom having saved him from the road, reacting to this, reacting to that, and it's the same thing in this show. It's just her reacting to all of this inflammatory sexism around her. It's not really her like showing any sort of character or emotion. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's bad over there. That's bad over there. And Luke Evans is just like, oh yeah,
A sex addict?
I'm-
I don't know.
I'm Luke Evans, and I wish I was on Californication right now.
Well, anyway, the four main actors, the one who got Daniel Bruhl, Luke Evans, um, Dakota Fanning, and Brian Garrity, they are going to be the main people in the story.
Well, I'm also
Plus,
surprised.
there's the killer, whoever that is.
Well, I'm surprised that we even got to see the killer like a little bit. We got to see him cooking the little boy's organs, some of his organs, and
well, they just show a hand with a glove on it,
and then his black cat. I guess he's got a black cat, of course. If you know anything
no,
about
it's a gray cat.
okay, well, if you know anything about the olden horror stories, you know that like cats that are dark colored are discriminated against by the writers.
Not gray cats. They're the bomb.
Just because they're dark. They're dark cats.
So anyway, check it out. It's good,
Yeah.
and make your own decisions about it. We're just trying to.
I just wish I could see the whole thing right now because I
don't.
think I would be able to give a lot more of a estimation about what I think about it. Because right now I would only give the show like a 7.5 out of 10.
Well, check out the book too, because it does follow the book pretty much so far, and the book's of really, you can read it really fast. It took me a couple days, and I still have the book, so I was looking through it. And one thing too, it took place in 1896, and that was the same time that the World's Fair was going on in Chicago, and another serial killer was at work named H.H. Holmes, who liked to kill women, especially
He preferred women, and this guy likes little boys more.
who dress as girls. So, he does mention that in the book, and I don't remember if they said something about H.H. Holmes in the show or not. I can't remember, but in the book they mention it in The Devil in the White City, which is about the World's Fair and H.H. Holmes. They mention the alienists, so I guess they gave each other a pat on the back and a plug. So, anyway, check it out. We enjoyed it.
I think it would be really funny
What?
if the guy who played Buffalo Bill, he's one of the guys in it. What is he in it? What
The
is
guy, Silence of the Lambs, the serial killer,
He's the
Buffalo
newspaper
Bill.
guy.
He is in this movie,
Newspaper.
and he's dressed up. Well, he is older. He has a mustache, and he
Yeah.
has a whole outfit bowler weird hat.
I think it would be really funny if
He's the serial killer.
if he was the serial
Oh,
killer.
I was wondering.
And we could see him like do the Buffalo Bill dance again, and that could be like a blooper on the after the credits of the finale. I think that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, and it was filmed in Hungary, so I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah.
So okay, we
So-
better go now. Bye
Goodbye.
everybody, and we'll be doing our
Rankings.
more rankings for our top new movies of 2017 and our favorite movies that we watched from 2000 or old movies that we watched from 2017.
Will it ever end? No.
Yeah, because 2017's over.
Damn it.
No, it's been a nightmare. I'm glad it's over.
Well, okay.
Bye everybody.
She has to write now.